Humanity, Terrans, Earthlings. Known by many names. Not very active or involved in galactic society, yet found almost everywhere, and in every field imaginable. From the arts to the sciences, humans possess skills that rivaled nearly every other species, often overshadowing them through sheer diversity alone. But for all their talents, humans were rarely the leaders in any given field. There were outliers, to be sure, but many species possessed genetic advantages that gave them an edge. The Freean, with their extensive and complex ear structures, were both exceptional hunters and composers. The Tarkon, tiny and dexterous, made excellent engineers, and the Judarum, tough and immensely strong, produced some of the greatest soldiers and mercenaries the galaxy had ever known. Humanity reached the stars believing they would be special, unique among the cosmos. That belief stemmed largely from their home planet being classified as what they called a death world. But to humanity's disappointment, most spacefaring races have required ambition, struggle, and adversity to reach the stars. While imperial and dogmatic civilizations were fewer and farther between, all races had fought wars, though far fewer had fought stellar ones. In the millennia since the founding of the Galactic Alliance, only 2 wars of true galactic scale had ever occurred. The latter had ended nearly 2 centuries before humanity stepped onto the interstellar stage. As a result, modern military doctrine was thin among most races. Still, all Alliance members maintained rapid reaction forces for so-called new arrival wars, the almost inevitable response when a species discovered it was not, in fact, superior in the grand scheme of the galaxy. Despite this, humanity was held as the true military might of the Alliance. At least, that was what the intercepted communications claimed. At least, that was what all intelligence reports suggested. It was a pathetic display, Admiral Teth thought. His species was special, ordained to rule all existence. The Danar had discovered the galactic community decades before achieving interstellar travel. They had planned, learned, and prepared. Hidden from the galaxy, they advanced their technology and meticulously mapped their conquest. And it would begin with humanity. From the command deck of the cloaked survey ship, Teth felt a rare flicker of apprehension. The Danar Imperium's armada would need to brush aside Earth's fleets before the Imperium could firmly establish itself as the galaxy's rightful ruler. What he saw instead filled him with fury. The fleet, if it could even be called that, was idle. Every ship lay docked at orbital stations, systems cold and inactive. They were nothing more than dull hulks that would take hours, perhaps days, to bring online. The sheer number of ships was impressive, but numbers alone meant little without readiness. From his tactical displays, Teth identified roughly a dozen orbital defense platforms, the only true threats to an attacking fleet. Long, spindle-like stations armed primarily with mass accelerator cannons and a modest array of point defense guns. He was uncertain how powerful their ordnance might be, but still marked them as priority targets. With little else of note, Teth finalized his report and prepared a data packet for transmission to the Danar homeworld. It would be sent discreetly once the ship exited the system and slipped into the safety of the void. "Let's move, people," Teth said. "Time to execute the will of the Emperor." It only took a week. The Danar Armada arrived in the Sol system in overwhelming force. Admiral Teth sat in the command throne of his flagship, more than 100 warships under his control, a fleet that dwarfed the pitiful human presence. When the Armada translated into the system, it was a spectacle. Engines blazing, shields fully charged, weapons primed. Teth expected resistance. He expected the defense platforms to fire. He expected humanity to rise to meet him. Nothing happened. The ships in orbit remained cold. No surge in reactor output. No weapons activation. The defense platforms increased power but did not fire. The only activity was a steady stream of hailing attempts. Teth ignored them all. The Armada had jumped into the system at a deliberate distance, nearly an hour's burn from Earth. Teth relished the tension, the slow and crushing inevitability of conquest. A fleet designed to subjugate civilizations, bearing down on what the Alliance called its greatest military power. "Sir?" a communications officer called out. "Speak," Teth replied. "The hails have changed. They are requesting communication or they will respond with force. About time, Tev said. These Alliance fools think everything can be solved by talking. Open the channel. Yes, sir. Channel open. Incoming fleet, this is Admiral Park of Earth. State your intentions or be considered a hostile force. The human voice declared in Alliance Basic. Tev chuckled. Humanity, this is Grand Admiral Tev of the Danar Imperium. You will be the first race we annex. Resist if you wish, but you have 10 minutes before we decide for you. Admiral Tev, Park replied slowly. Let this serve as a warning. Humanity is not weak. We will not break. If you continue on this course, we will respond. Space is vast, and attempting to rule it all will only lead to your destruction. Tev laughed openly. Human, I have seen your defenses. That pitiful orbital fleet. If this is what the Alliance calls military backing, nothing in the galaxy can stop us. What? Pop began. Cut transmission, Tev ordered. Maintain course. Yes, sir, the bridge responded in unison. 15 minutes to optimal weapons range, the helmsman announced. No change in human posture, sensors added. Ships remain cold, platforms on high standby. Then perhaps I'll earn leniency, Tev said. Those who know their place often do. 10 minutes passed. The only notable change was a flurry of evacuation traffic. Shuttles ferrying people away from the stations. Why evacuate? Why abandon warships? Sir, the communications officer said. The humans are hailing us again. For surrender, no doubt, Tev replied. Open the channel. Admiral Park appeared on the display. No, he said tiredly. I'm offering you a chance to surrender. Tev stared. You've made a grave mistake, Park continued. In 2 minutes you'll understand why humanity serves as the Alliance's military arm, but I may not be able to protect you by then. You bluff, Tev roared. I watched you abandon your fleet. We're evacuating civilians, Park said. Those stations, those ships, civilians, Tev barked. You allow civilians aboard warships? Yes, Park replied quietly. Because they're not warships. A sharp tone echoed across the bridge. Beep! What is that? Tev demanded. Park sighed. Looks like my time's up. I gave you a chance. The channel went dead. Beep! Beep! Sir? Sensor shouted. 3 fleets have appeared between us and Earth. They're hailing... 3 figures appeared on the display. Hi, Admiral Tev. This is Admiral Brinkman of the United Earth Navy vessel Texas. Stand down. This is Lord Halstead of the Terran Holy Order, aboard Excalibur. Back down, now. Commissar Chen, Human Interstellar League, flagship blank check. You will proceed no further. Tev swallowed. Analysis? 3 fleets of distinct design philosophies. Flagships on screen. The Texas was utilitarian and bristling with weapons, massive hangars capable of launching hundreds of fighters. Excalibur was sleek and radiant, white hull, gold filigree, centered around a spinal plasma lance and layered with redundant shielding. Blank Check was smaller, faster and terrifying, engines and weapons far exceeding what its reactor signature should have allowed. Any one of them could cripple a quarter of his fleet. All stop, Tev ordered. The armada halted. There is no victory here, a human voice said calmly. Prepare to receive a delegation. Resistance will not be tolerated. Hours later, Admiral Tev finally understood. Every ship in orbit had been a museum. Historic vessels preserved to teach civilians humanity's long and brutal military history. The 3 fleets that intercepted him were only a fraction of Earth's true strength. Humanity had fought vicious wars in nearly every first contact, and he had been the first new species not crushed for it. In his report to the Emperor, Tev included scans of the 3 flagships and his final assessment. What kind of species turned warships into tourist attractions? Only one so utterly devoted to war that it treated its tools of destruction as monuments.